In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a Turkish map fold greeting card insert. It's going to add a little bit of excitement to your greetings cards, I believe. In my hands, I've got a few examples of different cards in various stages. So this 5" by 5" square has got some matting layering on it, but nothing going on inside the card. I've taken that a bit further with this one, with an embellishment and a sentiment, but again, inside, nothing really going on there. And then with the last example I've got here, what I've done is taken that a step further. So I've got the embellishment, the toppers, but take a look at what happens when I add the Turkish map fold. Wow! There's a whole lot more going on that inside of that card. So something special has turned into something pretty amazing. I think you'll agree. Now this fold is very, very easy, and in this video, as I mentioned, I'm going to show you how to create this so that you can cut it with your Brother Scan and Cut. We'll be working with Canvas Online, or Canvas Workspace Online, sorry. So if you don't already have an account, please do pop over there and sign up for one. So I think it's about time we got started with that. To make the Turkish map fold pop out, I'm going to work in Canvas Workspace Online. I'm going to log in with my credentials, and then we'll start a new project. The starting point for this fold is a very simple square. Now, to work out what size square you'll need, you need to know the actual base card size. So I'm going to assume that I'm working with a 5 by 5 card, that's inches. I'm going to load it in a basic square, and I want to leave a little bit of room around the pop out when I insert it into the card. So the Turkish map fold will be double the size of your original card, and then I'm going to knock off a bit. So I'm going to make my starting point a 9" square. Because I've got maintain aspect ratio on, this has made it a big square. Now I'm going to set this to be a cutting line, and then I'm going to close the properties dialog box. That's the basic starting point for the Turkish map fold. The next thing that I need to do is create some score lines. I need 2 diagonals and 1 horizontal. So I'm going to make those with my path tool, and so that I know what size it's going to be, I'm going to just really work within the parameters of this square. I think what I'll do though first is zoom in a little bit so I can see better. So I've selected the square, and then from the view menu, fit to selection, so you can see that's now brought that closer to me. Reactivate my path tool. A single click to start the path tool, and then hold your shift key down as you move the mouse across the screen. And then to finish the line, double click at the end. Because I want it to be a score line, I'm going to set it to be a cutting line and then set it to a dashed pattern. I'll leave that properties box open for now because I'll want to come back to it in a moment. I'm going to reactivate my path tool, single click to activate, and then again hold down your shift key, and this will keep it at a 45-degree angle. Double click at the end. Once again, setting it as a cutting line and changing the dash pan. Reactivating the path tool, single click, shift and drag, and then double click. And then again, setting it as a cutting line, changing the dash pan. Okay, I'm going to close that down for a moment. Now that I've got all those lines in, I'm going to select all of them, and from my edit menu, go down to the align, and then choose center, and then from the edit menu again, align middle. And now by pressing the G key on my keyboard, I've grouped those together. So no matter what I do with this now, everything's going to move together. Now I do need a second square, so I'm going to load that in now. And this square needs to be half of a half. So basically, if my square is 9 inches, half of that would be 4.5. So this needs to be 2 1/4. So I'll open the properties dialog box, type in the measurement, press enter, and that's now 2 1/4. Now I'm going to change a couple of properties initially right now by changing it to a cutting line and a dash pattern. These need to be score lines as well. And then from my view menu, fit to selection, so I'm zoomed right in now on that square. You can see the dashed pattern. I'm going to give it a second click, sorry, a double click, so that I can access the node editing. And then I need to select this node that's in the top left corner. And then from this pop-up menu, choose this option here, which is Open Closed Outline. Now that's opened that square. I also need to get rid of this line though, so while this node is still activated, I'm going to delete that point. So now I only have those 2 lines left, which is what I want. I'll go back up and click on Select. So, deselected, stop, pack it in. I want this please, thank you. So you can see it's still got that square bounding box, which is exactly what I want. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to select everything there from my edit menu, align left and align top. So that's now perfectly positioned to be in that top left corner. What I also need to do though is now duplicate this 3 more times so it can fit on the other corners. So I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. I'll fit to all content, so that's the big square. Press D on my keyboard, and this little handle up here, I'll click on it, hold down my shift key and rotate it 2 times so that it's now facing the outer corner. And then I'll move it across here. Now, just before I do that next step, I'm going to group these. So this time I'm using my right click menu to group it. And then now I should be able to go in and align this one without too much bother. Edit, this one is going to be aligned to the right hand edge and the top edge. Okay, now duplicate that again and bring that down here. Shift click and rotate. And then while I'm here, I may as well do the other one as well, just to move it across. So now I can go back to this one. Because this one's now aligned, I'm going to group those together. I'll select the bottom corner and the big square. And this time I'm going to align to the right and to the bottom edge. There we go. And I can again group those. And then one last stage is to align this bottom left one. So it's aligning to the left and bottom, and then group this as well. And that, believe it or not, is the entire Turkish map fold finished. Now because everything's grouped, if I resize this, all of the score lines will resize as well, perfectly in proportion for whatever you want to do. So my advice would be to save this with the name Turkish map fold. Saving the project is completed, and then you've got it now to come back to whenever you want. So when you've cut out your square with the scan and cut, it will look a little bit like this. Now I've manually scored this so that you could see nice thick bold score lines. However, obviously the score lines on your scan and cut are going to help you with the next stage. So you'll have noticed from the design that we made, we have a horizontal, 2 diagonals, and then here are those 4 corner squares that we made. Hopefully that all makes sense now. The first fold that I'm going to do is a valley fold on the horizontal line that cuts through the square. It's worthwhile trying to make sure and take your time that everything is lined up, because obviously if it's all skew-whiff later on, it's not going to look great. Then we're doing mountain folds on the diagonal lines, so that's the opposite direction to the horizontal one. And again, match the point up on the tip of the triangle there. Now we've got this sort of almost squished pyramid, so if we push in from the sides on the horizontal line, that should fall into place. And then we just again press down on all of the folds. Now the little squares now will form vertical lines up the triangle or pyramid shape, and I like to pre-fold these, but you can see from the top there you don't necessarily have to. Actually, that makes no sense. What I'm saying is, from the top you can see that there are 4 tips, and we're basically going to take each tip and push it towards the center, so that we then end up with 2 folds on each point of that pyramid. So I'm going to repeat that for the other 3. Again, as I mentioned, you don't necessarily need to pre-fold like this. I do it when I'm manually scoring, just to loosen the card up. But your score lines that have been cut with the machine should allow things to work properly. Okay, the last corner now. Okay, now there we have it. That's the shape you should end up with. So at the tip of that shape you'll have basically 2 sides, and then this is what it'll look like from above, and then basically that's how the mechanism works. You pull out from the sides. So these large flat areas on either side of that are what gets stuck to the card. So you'll put glue there and you'll stick it in. Now you can stick it flush to the edge of the card or push the tip up towards the fold of the card. Don't push it too far in though, because remember your card has got to fold over. So my preference is to stick it slap bang in the middle. That's the best of both worlds then. It also evens out the bulk across the card too. So once you've got your glue in, you'll stick that down first, then put glue on the top and fold that flat, and then pop something on the top just so while it dries. And then basically you've got kapow. Now I've decorated this with a die cut stamped sentiment. If you are going to do things like that, try and do them before you stick this into the card or before you fold it together. It's much easier than trying to decorate it afterwards. So I hope that was useful. Here's a couple of examples of the card folded flat and then opening out. Just enough time for me to say thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and will give it a go yourself. Please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and also leave any comments or questions in the section below the video. And in the meantime, I will leave you with details of other videos I've got in my timeline on YouTube. And of course, please don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your Scan and Cut friends. Thanks for watching. See you next time.